Hi! So it's Aradia and Awari from the Journalistic Masterpiece Kickstarter, and if you want to know what's going to be in this box, stay tuned! So, I'm a little out of order today. I introduced myself first, whatever. But I wanted to talk about the shipping, what boxes I'm using, the process, what goes into the box, as much as I can show you. Because of course this Kickstarter is being run so that I can get the stuff to put in the box to include some of the packaging materials. I do have some here, and it's stuff that I regularly use, so I know it'll work. But I just wanted to give you a little more info. If you've been sitting on the fence about backing, if you're wondering, hey, what's up with these prices? I'm going to answer some of that today. So first things first, I will be using flat rate mailing containers. Now this thing is huge, right? This is a medium, right? But they have two styles of medium, and one of them is this giant rectangular box. And I'm using this because I know for a fact that the boxes that I'm going to put the journals in will fit in here, and there'll be a little space so that there'll be extra layers of protection in this box, which is the first thing. The second thing is, because it's flat rate, here's a few things. Let me explain what that means. So for some reason, flat rate sounds like it means something other than it does, and I had a conversation with someone the other day, and they were like, what? And I'm like, yeah, that's not actually what flat rate means. So the deal is, flat rate means that it will start at a certain price, and then it goes up from there based on the exact weight and the exact zone to which it ships. And there are several zones in the United States, and usually the shipping between zones isn't a whole lot. It's not tons, it's not something to worry about, and it's not going to break the bank. Second of all, when it comes to countries, each country has its own shipping. So if you look at the pledge, I have 4 options. To the United States, this is 0. To Canada, it says one price. To Mexico, it says another price. And then to everywhere else is another price. Now, Canada and Mexico happen to be the same prices, but I couldn't put them both in the same little box, so that's why they're listed out there separately. Now, there's a large price difference between the Canada/Mexico to everywhere else, because there's a large price difference when it comes to priority shipping between those 2 countries and everywhere else. For example, I was randomly looking at boxes, and a medium box to India is about $89. So there you go. That is why that's there. I built the shipping into the prices, and actually what it means is this. It means that all the shipping is technically discounted. So the shipping to the United States is marked as 0, but that is because the shipping to the United States is inside of the price of the pledge, which means if you buy from the US, you don't pay any more than what the pledge says, and that's it. If you go to Canada, or if it's going to Mexico or anywhere else, there's going to be an increase, and that is, if I recall correctly, which I don't, and I don't want to tell you the wrong thing. So I'll put those details in the bottom in the description, but I want to keep going with this, and I don't want to re-record because perfectionism is going to strike, and I'm not going to get this done. But the reason I chose the priority shipping is that it's going to be 2 to 3 business days inside the United States. Now, when I say business days, I mean shipping days, which does not include Sunday, and it has to be posted before 2 o'clock the day that it's going to be shipped, or it won't post until the next day. So that may mean 3 or 4 days is a little more likely. I have seen things get to places really quickly, like quicker than I thought was possible. And then I've seen things take till, with holidays and weekends and everything, maybe a day longer than I wanted them to, but they still got there inside of a week. Now, when it comes to shipping outside of the United States, it is 6 to 10 business days. Again, the shipping still works the same way, where of course we're not going to do weekends and any kind of holidays where the post office or the mail carrier is closed. Obviously, they're not going to do any work on those days. So there you go. But again, I wanted to use the flat rate boxes because it gives me a set price to work from. I'm going to go ahead and swallow the charges that are anything that's extra in the shipping. But I have padded it a little bit to to accommodate the box itself that is inside and all of the bits that are inside, which would basically be considered handling, and then just use the flat rate shipping boxes. So what is going to be in this box? Well, I've got my eye on some very nice boxes, and I went with 2 to 3 sizes that will accommodate depending on what you're getting. So if you're getting the 2 journals, obviously they're not going to fit in one box. That is going to be 2 boxes, which is another reason why I'm going with the larger mailers, to allow for these smaller journals 2 can fit in the box instead of 2 separate boxes. But I also needed a box that was going to allow me to put a quilled feather, a little container of ink, and the journal, and then I have a little bit of room for packing to make sure that it doesn't slide around too much, but to make sure that there was space between the journals and the box, as well as having room for a bookmark or the artist pouch if that's the pledge that you decide to get, and of course just the journal itself. So whenever I wrap things, typically for my work, I always use my branded colors, which are white, purple, and black. Sometimes you'll see a little gray or silver in there, but it's not really a color, so we just fudge that. First of all, we're going to have our tissue paper. Now, the way I do my colors is I alternate the white, purple, and black between the tissue paper, the needle-tatted butterflies that are part of my branding, as well as the crocheted bows that I also like, because a bow makes everything better. Just go with it. So the needle-tatted butterflies, this is a sample. This is not the exact one that I will be using. I actually have made a different one that's a little larger, and I just don't have any samples because I'm trying to use what I've got made up on orders right now. But this is purple. I have this is considered black currant. I have a lilac lavender color, and then I think I might have one more shade of purple, and then black and white, of course. And then the black bows. Of course, because this is crocheted, that means it's made by hand. And because this is needle tatted, this is also made by hand. And I want to stress that because instead of going to the store and buying little bits and bobs and having that cost built in, I am making everything that goes into and on this package myself, with the exception of raw materials like the yarn itself or the tools that I'm using to make these things. I'm using hand tools to make these, so there's no stitching, there's no sewing machine, there's no automated large machinery going into this process, which means there's a degree of love and care, energy, and spirit that goes into each of these packages. So on top of that, of course, we have our little business cards, so that if you're curious and you want to find me after the Kickstarter is done, this is a good way to do it. And I usually do 2. So one for you, one for a friend. And then of course, right now, I have these pre-made thank you cards. I have a plethora of them, so I switch them out per package. But they're all blank. And I will be using my trusty handy dandy quill and ink to write notes to each and every one of you that pledges, expressing my thanks, gratitude, and any little bits and bobs that I need to tell you about your journal or its use or whatever. And then a little bit of sparkle. So, last but least that goes in there, butterfly confetti. Handmade, right? This is all actually made from recycled paper. So it's all made from recycled paper, which is another part of my packaging process. I like to reuse things as much as possible. I like to just decrease waste. But I also, being the extravagant Mercury and Leo that I am, of course my ascendant is there too, I like nice things. I like nice presentation. I want this to be a gift. This is a present that you have got for yourself, that you've gotten for someone else, and I want it to feel like that when you open it. So while I do have some recycled materials here and there, like the confetti, I also try to make sure that the boxes are new, they're free of as many scuffs when they leave my house. I can't do anything about what happens after they leave, and so on and so forth. So everything is bright new, and the internal packaging is the best that it possibly can be. So we have one more thing. The new boxes, right? Your pledge makes them happen. I will probably be going with craft boxes, and craft is that weird brown color. So, right, See, like that color right there? That's about the color of craft paper. And that's craft with a K, by the way, in case you're just oddly curious. So, after that, there's one little bit that I want to share with you. And, okay, I've been chastised for this. I don't care. I like it. Makes me happy. Makes people who buy from me happy. And all that matters. Naysayers, be gone. Everything will be written by hand, to include the addresses. So I made up this address. It is a sample of some calligraphy made with my quill pen. Obviously this is not a real address, so good luck finding it. But I wanted you to see what it will look like. So not only are you going to get this amazing, gorgeous, wonderful work of art in the mail, be it a journal and a bookmark, a journal and a bookmark and a quill and a journal, and a pouch, whatever that you pledge for, or 2 journals, hey, you're going to get this lovely address, lovely handwritten note from me personally. So, again, for some reason, if you tuned out at the beginning, I'm Aradia Goseling over at the Journalistic Kickstarter, which you'll see all the links and all the information up below. There's a little teeny blurb. I'm going to link you to the updates page. I'm going to link you to the direct campaign page. A little reminder of some other places that you can find me at the very, very bottom. And I thank you for watching, and I hope to see you among the backers.